I was born when my mom was 17 years old. She was born to a mom that was 16 years old. My mom and dad, they didn't stay married. And by the time I was 3 years old, my mom was with my stepdad who raised me. And I had a really tumultuous relationship with my dad. It was, you know, I could go years without seeing him. He might be in my life for a couple months, and then I could go 7 years without seeing him. So that caused a lot of problems for me. I had a lot of self-esteem issues where I just, you know, my parents always showed me love. I knew I was cared for, but I wanted that relationship with my biological dad, and it wasn't there. So I saw it after that in all the wrong ways, just wanting to feel worthy of a man's love that I didn't get from my dad. So, you know, I put myself in a lot of scary, dangerous situations, just searching for that. And I eventually ended up pregnant at 18. I was enlisted in the Air Force and found out I was pregnant. I was encouraged by my parents, by my Air Force recruiter, friends, everyone, to get an abortion. And I actually went to the clinic and sat down. But, you know, I decided not to. I had one person tell me, you don't have to do that, and I didn't. I had my daughter Ellie, and, you know, my life kind of calmed down. I wanted to be a good mom to her, but I was still, you know, living a life of sin and rebellion, and as far away from God as possible. At that time in my life, I considered myself to be an agnostic. So we fast forward a little bit. I meet my husband, Tanner. He committed to going to church. He met a guy at work named Jesse, and he was an ex-convict. He got saved in prison. But he was really devoted to Christ, and he just kept pushing Tanner. But I wanted no part of it at this point. I remember telling him, I don't want you to change. But he kept on. He was faithful. He kept on. He kept, you know, little by little, just telling me about God, and just, you know, he didn't sugarcoat things either. He told me, and eventually I let up and I said, yes, I will go to church with you. The real turning point for me was I was listening to a sermon series called Jesus on Trial by Dr. John MacArthur. I realized that was only reconciliation to God can only come through Christ, who, you know, he's fully God and fully man. He lived a perfect life, a sinless life. He died on the cross, and he was raised 3 days later. So I would say that my mindset changed pretty radically. And there was hope. I mean, my feelings of unworthiness, now I have a Father that keeps his promises, that loves me unconditionally, that corrects me when I am wrong. And, you know, I don't have to worry about, will he answer when I call? We know that God keeps his promises, and he showed us that in many ways, but through his Son. It gives me hope because I know that since Jesus was raised from the dead, I will be too. And that no matter what happens here on earth, we know we're not going to live here forever, but our souls will live on forever. And one day we will be given a new body that doesn't have to worry about sin or sickness. And I feel like in times like today, where things are, you know, uncertain, it just reminds me that it's all temporary, and it's all meaningless in comparison to what we will one day experience with Christ.